I'm feeling like a brand new me. Brand new, brand new. Brand new, brand new. I blew away the clouds I was standing under. Traded all my rainy days for a little summer. I fly so high right now that I might not come back down. Dancing to my own beat, cherry on the top, sweet. Everything around me is looking up. If life is what you make it, I'ma celebrate it. I'm feeling like a brand new me. For the very first time, I'm right where I'm meant to be. I'ma tell everybody I'm feeling like a brand new me. Brand new, brand new. Cloud nine, I just took a little visit and the old me didn't know what I was missing. Seeing so clear, got that 20/20 vision. It was in me all along. All I had to do was listen to that heartbeat down inside of my chest. The little voice in the back of my head saying, one day you'll be living the dream. You'll see. I'm feeling like a brand new me. For the very first time, I'm right where I'm meant to be. I'ma tell everybody I'm feeling like a brand new me. Brand new, brand new. Feeling like a brand new me, brand new me. I'm feeling like a brand new me. Yeah. Feeling like a brand new me. I'm feeling like a brand new me. Yeah, yeah. Oh, let's go. You ain't gotta ask me. We can hit the road, got room in the backseat. Boys from the back street, come so far just singing over rap beats. See you on the way up, only looking down when we're seeing where we came from. You ain't gotta wait up, never gonna slow back down. There's no stopping now, they can't take us down. There's no reason to fight this feeling, 'cause I love this life. Yeah, it feels alright. And there's no reason to stop believing, 'cause I love this life. And the future's bright. And there's no reason to fight this feeling. Yeah, I love this life. Yeah, I love this life.
What is going on, everybody? We got our Tuesday live up and live. We got Ethan, we got Sam, we got Teddy. Welcome, Teddy. What's going on, man? How are you? I think you're muted still. All good?
Nah, I'm unmuted. What's good?
What's good, man? How are you?
How we doing?
We are good. And for anybody who doesn't know Teddy, is it okay if I introduce you as the Shark Tank guy?
Go for it, dude.
All right. So Teddy was one of the founders of Kanga Coolers, which you got an investment on Shark Tank, if I'm not wrong.
We did. Yeah, Mark Cuban.
From Mark Cuban. So today we're going to be talking about scaling your production company. Teddy's actually one of our clients, and we're going to talk about how he's building his media agency and his production company. And we're going to be answering any questions you guys have in the comments. So if you have any comments, questions, you're tuning in live, go ahead and drop a comment down below. If you see me looking over here, we're on Instagram. And if you see me over here, we're looking at LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, all that good stuff. But Teddy, dude, how's your week been so far? Pretty good?
Dude, it's been good. Busy in a good way. Are you hearing good mic quality? Is it coming through the actual mic?
I got you.
Right.
I got you on my end.
Ethan, what's good, dude? Haven't seen you in a minute.
For anybody who maybe doesn't know you, do you mind just giving us background and kind of like how you went from Kanga to now doing this, like doing the media agency and how you've scaled that up so far?
Yeah, absolutely, dude. So like I guess throughout my career, I've always been obsessed with solving problems. So product development's been my background. How do I build things to find immediate solutions? And then really the extension there was how can I make those solutions fun and appealing?
Yep.
So that's where like the whole branding side came in. And I realized that if you harness into brand, you can build a community. You can actually charge way more for your products. It kind of goes into value-based pricing, which is a lot of what you guys talk about in the course.
Yep.
But yeah, so what that naturally led to was developing a number of companies. Everyone wants to talk about Kanga as being the first. There were about 4 flops before that.
Okay.
One included, making Frocket t-shirts and selling them in the school hallways. Failed for a number of reasons. You can't sell t-shirts in the hallway. And also, my sister was my seamstress and she quit because I was underpaying her. So, so I had no supply. But, when you break it down, videography was always a love for me. I was the GoPro generation, one of the many.
Oh, dude,
you go jump off
those on vacations and throw them around. It's the best.
Yeah, dude, exactly. The whole travel, it was the rise of like Jay Alvarez, if you want to name, and Sam Colder. Everyone knows those guys. So, it was cool though. We were making travel, like cliff jumping, flip, you name it, sort of videos before Instagram was a thing. Yeah. So when Instagram dropped the video feature, I remember just flooding Instagram with all these videos I had made for years that I was literally just storing for my own memories. And so flooding the market, I think when you make something for yourself, there's a level of authenticity that comes from it. And I guess that was felt by other brands in the market. And when I went to Clemson University, I was approached by a number of companies to say, hey, we'll send you a bunch of free gear if you wear it in your videos.
Yep.
I mean, who doesn't want a free t-shirt when you're 18, right?
Right.
So I took some free t-shirts from a company, Southern Tide was one of the notable ones, Chubbies, if you guys are familiar. They sent me a bunch of product, and I remember making a bunch of videos, and it didn't occur to me that this could be a career until summer of my freshman year. I was actually in Chicago visiting some family. We went to a Southern Tide flagship store, and I saw all of my content on their retail merchandising. It's wow. Holy shit, I could make a living doing this. This could be a real thing. I should be charging for this.
Yeah. Money for this?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, that led to starting a production business, doing that. We kind of cornered the sorority video market, kind of white labeled that. That was my first time really like managing outsourcing. And then in the public built up Kanga Coolers and scaled that from 0 to 5 million. I exited in 2021, where I went on to be brand director for Island Coastal Lager, or Island Brands USA, where we set the record for the largest crowdfunding on Start Engine at $5 million cap, and grew that brand throughout the Southeast. And then after about a year there, I had enough inquiries that said, hey, do you ever do this on your own?
Right.
that sorry, there's a siren behind me. That's what led me into doing this. And honestly, what led me into even taking this course in the first place was once I made that leap, I'm like, dude, I've built brands for other people. I know I'm very confident in how to market product. I'm not confident in how to market a service. And that's now we're here.
Dude, I love it. How many people do you have working with you right now as far as like internal?
I'm a full-time guy. I have about 30 what I call lethal contractors we deploy at any given moment.
I love it. Talk more about the lethal, like how did you find those contractors? How did you maybe let go of some of the like, oh my God, I'm letting go of control. Like, how did you do that? And how did that work?
Those are great questions. In terms of finding contractors, I've always been at the belief if you move somewhere in your life, whether it's a job, location, or whatever, taking somebody with you, at least 1 to 2 people, shows that you made a mark at that role.
Yep.
So really with all of these companies, a lot of my key players were people that I interacted with along the way. Since then, a lot of these contractors have actually come from publicly sharing case studies. And what we've built, it's weird. Like there's, as you guys know, there's a level of short form content where you communicate like, almost breadcrumbs. And that seems to be what amasses mass virality because it's digestible from everybody. When you start, what's up?
I think there's just,
oh, you're good. When you start communicating at like a higher level, you start to reach like a different audience. And so you may not go viral like you're intending, but you'll get in front of people that are like-minded or are also approaching things similarly. So I'd say going into the next phase of it, I'd say about half of my contractors from previous experiences. I'd say the ones that I've built now have been people that have specialized. So I look for people that are specialized within different industries, right? Like we specialize in the outdoor industry. So whether it's lifestyle real estate, lifestyle products, lifestyle services, you name it, but it's almost always centered in outdoor industry. I like to pick an industry that has its own trade show. So that's kind of my rule of thumb, but that's really how I found people. And then in terms of,
I guess to back up for a sec, why did you choose just one industry? Because I know a lot of people are like, well, I want to serve everybody. So I guess why did you choose just one instead of kind of going more broad in that sense?
The truth is, once I finally realized, and Ethan and I actually had a lot of back and forth on this. I was probably someone that you had to kick in the butt more than anybody of like, dude, you got to specialize. You got to specialize. You got to specialize. I finally looked up after my second year in business and was like, okay, cool. I've made 3 times more than I have at any other job. And every year before that was 3x, 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 3x. Why did this past year only go like 1x? I mean, I don't think I should be like plateauing yet. And I eventually realized that every single project I did, I wrote a completely new scope of work. So that took up a ton of time because I was going back and I had not productized the service. And then so for me, it was making that conclusion of, okay, productizing the service in the service industry is the same way of finding a monetizable lifestyle in the product industry.
Yeah.
Once I made that correlation, it made sense to me that there's no way you can scale your business, especially in a service, without, honestly, like I even took that and I applied it to product too. But you can't scale it without like niching down and solving a very specific problem for a specific person. And the nicher you get, the more people are willing to pay for it because there's more value.
Yeah, no, 100%. It's you're able to actually like create something that solves a very unique problem and differentiate yourself in the marketplace. Whereas a lot of other people are they're just doing everything and they're kind of the one-man band for everything, right? And like, how did you, this is probably something else that a lot of people struggle with, but how did you let go and start letting other contractors do work on your behalf instead of saying, no, I need to be doing all that work? Like, how did you do that?
It's a great question. I didn't let go until I built standard operating procedures. Once I built those out, it was a lot easier to let go. I am a hire slow, fire fast guy. I always have been. If you come in and you under deliver for the client, I tell you on the front end that you're not going to have a job. That's just how we're going to roll. But if you show me that you're capable of having the job, I will be the coolest boss that you've ever had, because I'm going to give you that freedom you want. I'm a project deadline type guy. Hey, look, I don't care if you're putting in, 90 million hours a day in butts and seats or whatever. When I text you when I Slack you during the workday, I expect a response within an hour. And when I have a project deadline, I expect it completed in following the standard operating procedure. And if that's not done, I'm going to go find someone that's willing to do it.
Yeah.
And really, the way I was able to get past it was I actually sacrificed bottom line revenue to find contractors that I liked. And then slowly but surely, as those processes got dialed in, that was when I was comfortable going with other options that were maybe more profitable or resourceful.
Right. Because like you have to start with like really, really good talent and dial that process in. And then as your and this is something I've learned from like some of my mentors as well, but as that process gets better, you can get maybe like B or C level talent, plug them into a really good process and get the same result. But you have to start with A level talent and work your way down from there.
Spot on, dude. And those people that you plug into an A process will eventually they'll upgrade their level as well.
Yep. 100%. Once you have that process, you can plug them into. Yep. Was it hard for you? Because I know it's still hard for me sometimes, but like letting go of things and
Absolutely.
like what were some of the things or some of the moments for you where it's like, oh, dude, this was really hard to let go? So I know a lot of people out there are kind of in that place where they're like, I don't want to let someone else do it because what if they mess up or like what if something happens, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, the hardest part is handing off any bit of like the creative process, an edit. What you could brief someone so well on an edit, but there's an element of style that goes into it.
Mm-hmm.
And no matter how you skin the cat, like you're always going to get what you get.
Yep.
So you could tell someone this is not what we talked about, but again, there's a communication gap. It's hard when you are handing someone a blank canvas and you could give them as many details as you want. They're still going to view the blank canvas the way that they're going to view it.
Yeah.
So that was always hard. And then anything client facing takes a lot of trust because it takes a lot of training to get somebody capable.
What if they don't do it right? What if they cost me money? What if they make me look bad? Right.
What if they go? I've had issues with contractors going behind my back to the client and stuff like that. And those were at previous jobs, not with my current business. But those sort of I don't know what you want to call them, battle scars, business traumas. Those are the sort of things that keep you resisting actually relinquishing control. But at the end of the day, it's like a judgment of character. And I think the people that did that it was probably a poor judgment of character on my end from making the hire in the first place.
I heard this from one of my mentors too. It's like, we just need to be better at finding the right people and putting them in the right seats, because if you want to scale to a certain point, you physically can't do all the work yourself. It's just not possible.
You literally can't.
You literally can't. You don't have enough time in the day. And I think that's what keeps a lot of people stuck is like, and Sam talks to a lot of people like this as well on the enrollment side, but it's like a lot of people are like, well, I don't want to give up control, so I'm not going to scale. But the thing is like what got you to this point, which is like, whatever your revenue is right now, is not what's going to get you to the next point. And that's something that I've experienced where it's like, you got here by grinding it out, pushing really hard and like doing everything you possibly can to get to where you are and doing it all yourself. You can't scale that way because you physically will not have the time. And so like, will some people mess things up? Will they embarrass you? Yeah, probably. Right. But at the end of the day, it really comes down to like having a good judgment of character, like you said, and then also just like being okay with like, yeah, that's going to happen sometimes. I need to mitigate it as much as I can. But like, what's the alternative? I do everything myself forever, and then I hate my life and hate my business because I never have any time. Right.
Right. I think one thing that is a little bit of a misconception with a lot of people is they try to scale or implement before they're ready. I think that you need to be stuck before you need to feel stuck before you actually are stuck.
Yeah.
One thing that I tried to do was implement processes before I was ready. And that ended up kind of biting me in the butt. It was good practice in implementing process, but I realized like after I had the process, like, well, dude, I don't have anyone to have follow this. So like, why did I spend all this time building it?
Yeah.
So it's kind of reaching that point of capacity. And when I was about to make my first hire, actually, I was ready to extend somebody an offer. And I ran to go get coffee right before the meeting. And I ran into an investor friend. And he's like, well, you know, what's going on? I was all, you know, giddy. I'm about to make my first hire. He's like, for what? And I was going to outsource the part of my job that I actually enjoyed the most. And he asked me, he goes, I just want to make sure that you're outsourcing the part that you hate doing the most. And it was an interesting approach. And I remember it was like a 5-minute drive back to the office. I was like, dude, I'm about to take away the one part of the business that fills me up. So it's understanding, once you reach a point of capacity, it's looking back and realizing what your vulnerabilities are, your processes that you have in place. Obviously, if they're getting done, you're not missing payments, you're actually filing your taxes, and you're operating a profitable business, you're doing a good enough job. But if you're not the finance guy, you're not the finance guy. Find someone that wants to be the finance guy.
Yeah.
If you're not the ops guy, go find someone that wants to be the ops guy. But go figure out that part of the business that you want to take ownership of and staff around those areas, which is hard because you're really giving up more control that way. Because you already don't feel in control of those areas. But the areas that you don't feel like you have in control are probably the first areas you want to offload.
Yeah. Yeah. You should be spending all of your time on the thing that you are good at that makes the most money. Because if you're really good at one thing, you need to focus on that thing. Whereas if you outsource that immediately, then A, you hate the business, so you don't like it anymore. And then B, you're not making as much money because you're not in your zone of genius, which is whatever it is that you love doing in the business. Now, the other kind of misconception I see on the other side of that is like some people, and maybe I'd love your take on this too, Teddy, but it's like some people want to outsource the sales and the marketing before they even understand how it works for their own business.
Dude,
so like, what are your thoughts on trying to outsource too quickly to the point where it's like, hey, you need to learn this process first, and then you can hire somebody to know if they're doing a good job or not, you know?
Spot on. That was kind of what I was getting at. I think you need to invest and learn every process before you're capable of outsourcing it.
Yeah.
It's similar to like Chick-fil-A. You can't go and operate a Chick-fil-A franchise unless you've worked every single business in the franchise.
Yeah.
So
100%.
You have to go and work it and realize, man, I suck at drive-through orders.
Yep.
Once you realize that you suck at drive-through orders and there's someone better than you, you'll go find your spot, but you actually now have appreciation for the role.
Yeah.
So you need to invest in that. And at the end of the day, you make money two ways running a business. It's through innovative products and effective marketing.
Yep.
So sales doesn't sell product without effective marketing. So you need to understand both those areas. You need to understand what your product is, what your mission is, and you also need to understand your marketing process and what you are selling.
Yep.
So once you understand that and you understand what works, you're in a position to where you can outsource that. But if you outsource that early, man, you're basically giving away the keys to your ship, and you're putting it in somebody else's hand whose self-interest is making you spend as much money as possible because that's where they make the most.
Yep. And you don't know what's going on. And it's like you have to lead by example too. Like how can you have team members who look up to you if you yourself can't do the role? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like
Right.
It's like Sam, if like Sam is within the sales role in our companies. It's like if I was like, yeah, I don't know how to sell, dude, but like I need you to come in here and like sell.
Right.
Like, what would you do? You know what I mean? You'd be like,
yeah, it wouldn't be great at all. And just on the topic of what you guys were saying, because like Teddy, you're quite a high level guy, right? So someone of your level may potentially feel like they're beyond mentorship or beyond training or things like that. So for you, mate, like what were the biggest bottlenecks that you were facing before jumping into the program, and how did we assist that?
That's a good question. In terms of actual operations, I think that operations can be a daunting word. I think that what most people don't realize is that the best operating systems are the simplest.
Yep.
They're the most straightforward. They're the most streamlined. And, whenever I would think of operations, I would think of, some internal software database that this company built that's proprietary for their own services or whatever. It's like, dude, all it is typically like a publicly licensed tech stack that's built out with the correct frameworks to repeat over and over and over again.
Yep.
And that was what I took away from this course was, holy shit, like the best guys in the industry are using all of the stuff that we all have access to every single day. And, you know, what's funny is I told Eric when I got hit with the ad, I was in the process of, I had 5 courses that I was looking through. I did all of the sales funnel processes for every single course and then picked the course based off of who had the best sales process. You guys had the highest price tag and by far the best sales process. And I was like, well, if someone's going to teach me how to package up my business and how to sell it, it's going to be the guys that have the best sales process. So that was ultimately what it was. You know, the proof was in the pudding. I don't know if most people looked at it that way, but I looked at it from, hey, I want to learn I remember Eric got on the call and I was like, dude, am I going to learn the process that you use to get me on this call right now? He's like, yeah, that's what we teach. I'm like, cool. Because if you're using it on your business, then I want in.
For sure. 100%, man. We have a question on Instagram. They said, Teddy, what are some of the challenges that you still face today within your businesses or within your business?
Yeah, good question. I think like patience with people is a challenge that I always have. I'm fast paced. I like to keep things going. Understanding that perspectives are valuable and that you need to listen, but at the same time, it's your job to provide direction. And the best way to provide direction is to be direct.
Yeah.
And so a lot of times I want to dance around things as opposed to being matter of fact. And, you know, a practice that I would a lot of times do with editors, we're making social media content for a client. Most important thing is that this content converts. We know what converts. We have the processes, we've outlined them, but there are always going to be tweaks that are needed. So going in and, you know, instead of saying like, hey, change this, trim this up, do whatever, what I try to lead my editors with is, hey, I would ask questions. Would you, okay, you don't know anything about this company now. You're scrolling on your Instagram feed. I would pause the video at 3 seconds and I'd say, by show of hands, who's watching this video? If no one's hands raised, we need to do the whole thing over.
Yep.
So by asking questions, instead of saying, hey, fix, it's asking rhetorical questions to have them start to understand the thought process that goes into what you're doing. That will help shape your team to actually embody not only the culture that you're building, but your mission and your approach. And so that is always something that I deal with is be patient, ask the right questions. And if you ask questions to the right people, the actions will be reciprocated. If the actions aren't reciprocated from asking the right questions, either you're asking the wrong questions or they're not the right fit.
Yeah, no, I see that in my own life too, man. I think it just comes down to like leadership. And I heard this from one of my mentors, but there's two types of leadership. There's transactional leadership and then there's transformational leadership. Transactional is like, Teddy, go do this thing. And then I go and check to see if you got it done. Yep. And then it's like, Sam, go do this thing. And then I check to see if Sam got it done. Whereas like what transformational leadership is, and this is something I'm personally still working through myself, like getting better and better and better, because it's hard. You know, I want to control things and that's my own thing and whatever. But like it comes down to like transformational leadership is like, hey, Teddy, here is the goal. Like here is the target of what we're looking to shoot for. And then I measure that in some sort of way with one KPI. It's like, this is what we're shooting for. And then you let them figure out how to get there and you check in and coach them through the process. But when somebody comes to you with a question, instead of just giving them the answer and telling them what to do, you ask them a question around what they think they should be doing based on what the solution would be. So if you're like, hey, I don't know how this edit is going to look. Well, what do you think could make it better? Or do you like what you said? Like, do you think that it's going to actually go viral? No. Okay. Well, what do we need to do that? I don't know. You tell me. I don't know. And it's like, as a leader, it's really hard because like to get to this point, we were super hands-on and we're like, I need to control everything. I need to tell people what to do. But to get to that like 10 million, 20 million, 30 million level, like you have to be in a place where you're developing and pushing. I heard this earlier today, but it's like pushing the leadership down to the lower levels. So then everyone becomes their own leader as opposed to you having to control everything, because that transactional stuff is going to cap out at like 12 people. Right. And sorry, my camera's going haywire here, but like that is where, when you can push each person into their own leader, like Ethan can make a decision without me. Sam can make a decision without me. Other people on my team can make decisions without me because they know how I would make a decision because I coach them on how to make that decision. You know what I mean?
Dude, that's spot on. It's essentially making sure that everyone that's in a leadership position understands why you do what you do.
Yeah.
Once someone's capable of leading, they understand why you do things. Because once they understand why you do things and the philosophies behind the business, they're able to, pass those down.
You teach the principles, not the things. Because it's like if you have a salesperson on your team, it's like, well, how many units are we going to get this month? And then the units is the goal. And then, hey, how are we doing on that? I'm not quite there. Okay, what do we need to do to make some changes? How can I support you? Right. And it's like climbing a mountain where it's like, if you're gaining elevation every day, great, we're moving in the right direction. But if the elevation goes down based on the KPI that I'm looking at, it's like, hey, what happened? Oh, I fell off this cliff and now I'm down here. Okay, what do we need to do to get to the next level? And it's still something I struggle with like not telling people what to do. But I think it is really important because it's like you have to teach other people to think for themselves and develop their own thought processes. Otherwise, you just become a genius with 1,000 hands, and it's not scalable. You can't do it.
Spot on. Yeah, and great culture builds. I've always seen a correlation between like increasing culture and like sales.
Yep.
And the funny thing is, I think a lot of brands or businesses have it wrong where they equate culture to, not working as much, not, easier flexibility, whatever. Like our culture is always hardworking.
Yep.
It's always intense. And when people come to me and they tell me that they're overwhelmed by the workload or they're working so much, okay, well, so you're either disorganized or you're not a right culture fit for what we're doing, because everyone here is working super hard and is super busy. And that's a requirement. That's what we're going for.
Yeah.
But it's funny. I see a lot of cultures that are built around, it's loose, work from home, do whatever you want to do. Dude, we're the same way. But like when we say, hey, meet in person, like we're all showing up on time and we're like getting shit done.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think I heard someone else say this and it was a good analogy. It's like if you were going to join the Lakers, the Lakers wouldn't have to fire you. You just wouldn't be able to keep up. Right. So it's like the same thing as a high performance team. It's like if someone joins our team and they're not doing what they need to do, we don't necessarily need to fire them. They just don't make it. And it's very evident, and they self-select themselves out because it's such a high performance team and culture.
It's the Navy SEAL model.
Yep. And you let people self-select themselves out. Let's see. We had one other question here on Instagram. How do you keep people interested in your company? I think you mean like, how do you keep people tied in and how do you invest in people? But Teddy, you want to maybe take that one?
Yeah. Interested in your company.
I think they mean by like, how do you, when you hire somebody, how do you keep them involved and invested in the company?
Oh, I think that one's pretty simple. It's ask for their opinion.
Yep.
Yeah. People want to be involved when they feel like they have a say.
Right. Yep. And also just like understanding, I think, their dreams and their goals too.
Big time.
It's like, if I know what your 5-year plan is and I understand where you want to go and I can help support you to get you there, then like we're on the same path. It's not like you doing something for me. It's me understanding where do you want to go? How can I help you get to the place you want to be at and investing in you at the end of the day?
If we're both working in the right direction, we're in the right place.
100%. Yeah, absolutely. Let's see a couple more questions here, guys, and then we're going to wrap up here. Sam, I'll kick it over to you, man. I know you take a lot of calls with a lot of clients, but what are some like mindset things people run into, or what are some like common misbeliefs or things that people kind of like get in their own way around, I guess?
Definitely people that have not taken that step. I know that Teddy, you said that obviously you had like 4 failed attempts before you obviously made it big time as an entrepreneur, and that's quite normal. But yeah, for like people that have never really taken that step and maybe always told themselves that they wanted to, what would you say to them people, Teddy? Them people that are like on the fence, they're like a freelancer, perhaps they've been doing it a while, been wanting to build out their business and take that step for a while, but for whatever reason, maybe have not had that, confidence in themselves to actually go all in and make that step.
The biggest sign of analysis paralysis, I see the most common trait is people building out processes or building plans to be executed instead of just doing it.
Yeah.
Because once it hits the market, it's like going to backfire. And what it backfires, you either backfire and like get knocked out, or you look at it and you go, oh, that didn't work because of this. And then you go and change it and adapt and keep going. You're not going to learn anything until you bring it to market and start to adapt. So that would be my biggest thing. I'm a huge, like, I love process for the business. I also can't stand process in the sense of a lot of people will jump in and then try to equate the process to work or value or whatnot. And I have a policy, like once a month, I go through Asana, everything that we use. I go, okay. And I find it a lot of like mid-level people like create processes when they panic because they get anxious about what's going on. If you created a process that nobody is following, it is not a process. And I make them delete it. I'm like, delete it and don't do that, because, you know, this needs to be a process that people are going to follow. So it's ultimately stop making processes before you actually go and put it out in the market, because your process is going to be built off of the feedback. You don't know how to sell people until you get told no like 50 times. And then once you get told no 50 times, you figure it out. It's like, dude, a dumb example is, you know, when I tell people, ask me what my last name is, and I just spell it out for them. And when I spell it out for them, they remember it. But that took me 3 years to figure it out.
Yeah. Well, I think what you said too is like, I think it kind of stems back to like people would rather procrastinate coming up with the perfect plan than actually just taking the step and doing it, because it's a form of procrastination, right? Like they would rather be like, oh, I need to figure out exactly what to do before I do it. And a lot of times it just comes down to like people need to do the thing and then figure it out, take the jump, invest in the thing that they know they need to invest in, and not necessarily just sit there, you know, overthinking and analysis paralysis and just staying stuck. And that's how people wake up in, you know, 2, 3, 4 years and they're exactly where they were before, because they have to make the perfect step, right?
Spot on. Yeah. Spot on. Yeah. Dude, I do need to jump. I have a sales call I need to jump on.
You got it, dude.
Yeah.
You jump. Appreciate your time, Teddy. And
appreciate it, guys. Be good. Peace.
Oh, man.
But yeah, Sam, anything else that you see on calls that kind of keeps people stuck? And then we'll wrap up here.
Yeah, just like I was saying, mindset, especially what you're saying in terms of trying to formulate the perfect plan. Yep. A lot of limiting beliefs, because like you say, we work with freelancers who are looking to build out a business, and we also work with established businesses who are looking to grow and looking to scale. Yep. So definitely on the freelancer side of things, people that have wanted to maybe take that step for a long time, it can be a scary thing, especially when you've never taken that step. But at the end of the day, like, you're the only person that can get yourself and create the life that you want. No one else is going to do it for you. So as long as you believe in the system and you believe you're in good hands, like you say, it's about taking that step and not just waiting and analysis paralysis, like you mentioned.
100%. Absolutely. Let's answer a couple questions here, guys. If you have any questions on YouTube, drop them in the comments below and we will answer them. Editmypodcast.agency said case studies are huge. They speak to the right person versus all the people. Absolutely. Yeah. And having a specific avatar and creating a case study around them, absolutely huge. Let's see what else. Your time is quantified relating how long it takes you to spend time in correcting the person. Exactly. Yeah. The minute you can start learning how to work through other people is the minute your business will actually grow. Like, I can't do everything myself. Like, I have an amazing team that works with me to do the things and accomplish the goals that we're looking to accomplish, but I literally can't do that without them. And so, like, if you don't have other people in your business, you're bottlenecking yourself at a certain point because you can't do all that work yourself. And that, like, ability or want to control everything is what keeps you stuck from getting to that next level. Let's see what else we have here. And if you guys have any other questions, drop them down below and we will answer them. I see on Instagram, how does one gain momentum in a saturated market? Ethan, you want to take that one?
Gaining momentum. I would say, one thing, well, I guess biggest thing, like we were just talking about, case studies. You got to stand out. Results are the biggest thing that are going to help you stand out. And not just using, quality of work. That's a big crutch that I see a lot of people use is, my
quality of work is going to help me stand out in the marketplace. It won't.
Yeah.
Yeah,
no,
it's about the
business
result.
owners don't care about, you know, I mean, obviously they want good looking content to represent their business, but the main thing is, what did that content do? How did it drive sales,
Did it
leads?
convert? Yeah. And at the end of the day, if it's not converting, it doesn't matter, you know?
Yep.
So huge. Any other questions, guys? And we will wrap up here, and we'll try to get some more special guests on the lives here. But if you have any other questions for us, let us know. But if you want to learn more about how we help video business owners scale their actual production companies, you can go to masterfilmmaker.com or click the link below this video, and we'd be happy to see if we can help. And you'll speak with someone from our team, maybe Sam, maybe it'll be Evan, maybe it'll be Danny, Hakeem, doesn't matter. But if you have any questions, go there and check that out. And if you guys need anything else, let us know, and we'll see you here on Thursday. See you guys.
Got a good thing coming, and it's all I need.